Hey everyone, it's Susan. Today I want to talk about one of my favorite topics on the planet, sleep. You're in one of a few places right now. Either you are getting great sleep and you're feeling amazing, or you're what a lot of people are. Sometimes it's good, especially on weekends, and during the week maybe not so much. Or in the third place, you are sleep deprived, you know it, you feel it, in which case today's training is absolutely for you. You know, right now there is this epidemic of sleep deprived people all over the world, and we're working harder, we're pushing, and at times, you know, you can feel a bit superhuman, especially if you're working on a project and you're like, yeah, I can get, 4 or 5 hours sleep and be totally fine. I used to be exactly that way. Years ago, I owned a health club, and in addition to that, I was teaching nutrition at a local college. I had a little sweet girl, and I also, on top of everything, was a pro triathlete. I was training clients. I mean, I was on radio and television. I was like, I'm superhuman. I was in my 20s. I thought I was indemnable. And so there I was, working often 7 days a week and competing on weekends, and plus running my health club. And I'd go into work at about 5 in the morning. Sometimes I'd be there until 9, 10, even 11 o'clock at night. I'd go back home, get maybe 4 or 5 hours sleep, and I'd start it all over again, plus the demands of being an athlete. Well, bring 2000 around, and guess what happened? I ended up getting diagnosed with progressive multiple sclerosis. And, thinking in retrospect, I looked back and really and truly, I feel, people will say to me, oh, Susan, I'm so sorry. Do you think it's genetic? I'm like, no, I think I gave myself MS. I really, really do. Our bodies are incredible, but we need things to sustain us. We need sleep. We need great nutrition. We need rest. We need to be able to buffer stress. And I wasn't doing any of those things. I mean, I thought I was, but I thought I could just borrow from something I didn't have. And the reality is sleep is much like money. You can get away with it a little while, borrowing from, say, credit. But at the end of the day, guess what? If there's nothing left, there's nothing left. Your body is going to begin to break down. Science is really looking at sleep studies these days. And in fact, there was one study that was released that found that 82% of Americans are claiming they need more sleep. It's just massive. And so if you're in that category where you're not getting enough sleep, here are some things that could be happening to you. And science is looking at this and going, this is a big problem. So in addition to lack of mental clarity, you can also have depression, skin challenges, increased appetite. You can have weight gain, lethargy, apathy. You can feel, just blue, depressed. I mean, there's so much going on. And as we age, our levels of a hormone called growth hormone begin to decline. And science is finding that although our growth hormone is secreted different times of the day, the biggest secretion of growth hormone actually happens about an hour into deep sleep. And there is some research that shows that that time could actually be between 10 p.m. at night and 2 in the morning. I know what some of you are thinking. You're like, oh my gosh, Susan, I live in New York. I stay up until, 1 in the morning or whatever. And New Yorkers tend to stay up the latest. That was another study I read. And then, on the West Coast, sometimes we go to bed a little earlier. We get up earlier. And, it just depends where you live. But either way, it's time to start understanding that sleep is the new commodity. And so, I was just at a children's birthday party, and there were some friends there, and, the parents, and some of them had been out the night before. And for about an hour and a half, we had this discussion on sleep. And so some of these parents are real high achievers, and they're saying, if I could have anything right now, it would be more sleep. And if you're a parent, sometimes we can't control it. We're like, oh yeah, okay, we're going to go to bed at 11. And what my girls have started doing, God love them, is during the week, they don't want to get up. And I'll say, oh, it's time to get up. It's time to go to school. And then on weekends, they're getting up at 5:30 in the morning. So if you're a parent, you may tell yourself on weekends, yeah, I'll just sleep in. But if you have kids, guess what? It's not always up to your schedule. So I want to give you a few tips that have really worked in the past when I was practicing nutrition with my clients, and also with the people I coach and mentor. And they're in no particular order, but I would encourage you to embrace them. We are also putting these up on our blog, so check out www.susansly.com. And I really want to make sure you're starting to get better sleep. I do want to hear from you so you can be more productive. I mean, at the end of the day, when we're sleeping better, we have more energy to do the things we love. The first tip is really about beginning to shut down about an hour before you want to go to sleep. And so that means shutting down your technology, yes, turning off your phone. It's so important. You don't need to check that last Snapchat or what's going on someone's Instagram. You just need to shut down your laptop, all of your devices. And I recommend just reading a good fiction book, or you may choose to do, my next tip is mindfulness and meditation. I have a lot of people, if you go to susansly.com, I have the Shift meditation. It's $3.97 to download. That's the price it is. We're going to keep it at that price. And you can go there and download it. And I get a lot of people saying, hey, Susan, it's the thing that helps me fall asleep. So I would check that out. And it's just a guided meditation, very gentle. If you already have a mindfulness practice and maybe doing some prayer and devotion, that can be a great thing. And the third one is journaling. Sometimes we can't sleep because there's a lot of anxiety in the day, and just journaling can be a very cathartic way to let things out. The fourth thing is really around nutrition. So it's so powerful to begin to eat lighter toward the evening. And sometimes what happens, and what used to happen for my clients, is they work really hard in the day, then they come home, and as their cortisol, it's a stress hormone, their levels are rising, they're hungrier, and they eat more calories after 6 p.m. than they did the whole day. And that's what a lot of people do. So getting, healthier food during the day and then eating lighter at night is going to help you have a better sleep. And for some of my clients, I personally don't eat meat, but I used to have some of my clients who couldn't sleep eat things like organic turkey, which has a bit more tryptophan in it, a natural amino acid that can help sleep. The fifth thing is some people benefit from melatonin supplements. So I would check with your health practitioner and say, hey, is melatonin something that's right for me? The body can produce melatonin, but all sorts of things can affect our body's ability to produce melatonin naturally. And so find out if that could be something for you. The next tip I have when it comes to getting sleep is really just doing something as simple as deep breathing exercise. And you may say, Susan, these things are all common sense, but I'm going to say this and I want you to write it down, and I encourage you to really, contemplate this. Common sense is not always common practice. And I'm going to say it again. Common sense is not always common practice. And so doing some deep breathing is common sense, but you've had a very anxiety-ridden day and you're like, all tight in your body and super stressed out, just sitting there and taking some deep mindful breaths, breathing in, holding it in, exhaling slow, that can begin to calm your body down. It's incredible. And some other things, taking a nice warm bath with Epsom salts can be very calming. The other thing I could recommend too, if you have the ability to do so, occasionally getting a nice massage. Don't go for, yes, that's the time. If you're hardcore like I am, I want the deep tissue massage, get in there with the elbow, stuff like that. No, just a nice relaxing massage. And if you can do that, it can not only help you for that night, but the days afterwards as well. For myself, there's a certain kind of yoga I practice. It doesn't matter what time of day I do it. I practice super hot yoga, and I find that the night after the day I've practiced the yoga, I always have a much, much better sleep. If you are a smoker, nicotine is a stimulant, and you really, number one, you want to begin to get rid of that habit, but number two, I would begin in reverse. As the day is getting more stressful, you're probably like, oh my gosh, I need a cigarette. But if you can begin to pull that habit away, especially toward the evening, and find some other substitute, then that's also going to help contribute to better sleep. The last thing I want to share with you is that life is really, really short, and science is finding now more and more diseases are related to how our bodies process stress. You are not going to process stress well if you're not sleeping. And you may be in a cycle right now where you've got big projects and big goals and big things you want to focus on. You think, I'll sleep later. The thing I want to tell you is your brain is going to function much better. You'll be more creative. You'll be more focused if you get that sleep. And, for me, it took a long time to learn that. And I had to get diagnosed with MS and adrenal fatigue and all other things before I learned my own lesson and started to say, you know what, around 9:30, I begin to go to sleep, believe that or not. So with that, I just want to wish you every joy, every success, and just know our belief at our company is that balance isn't a 24/7 destination. It's something that happens in moments, and we want you to have more of those moments. And as we're giving these tips, no, it's not always going to be perfect. It's going to take practice, but just making progress a little bit at a time, and you watch how your life begins to shift and change. Come check out my website, www.susansly.com. I'd love to connect with you. You go out there and have the best life yet, and we will see you next time.